Hello, stamping friends. It's Angie here with Too Cool Stamping, and I am so glad to be back with you with another live class. This time we are going to feature a just delightfully beautiful stamp set with the Inked Botanical Suite. The stamp set's called Inked and Tiled. There's a pack of punches that go with it, and then some beautiful, beautiful paper. And I love the color combinations in the paper patterns. And the cool thing is, I don't think I ever shared it, and I should share it on my blog, but there's actually a video somewhere showing how they made this inked botanical paper with actual flowers that they picked and pressed and then inked, and then pressed those inked botanicals onto the paper to create the paper. Of course, they did some color correcting digitally afterwards, but there's a really cool video. I'll have to show that on my blog once I get the class cards actually posted, but you'll have to check that out at toocoolstamping.com. Anyway, really cool paper. So that's what our class is going to feature today. Before we get started though, I wanted to just kind of give an overview of what's going on promotion-wise. Of course, during July, you may have already taken advantage of the bonus days coupons. There is the opportunity to earn a $5 bonus coupon with every $50 you spend for the month of July. So you still have a few days left for that up until July 31st. And that's for every $50 that you spend, you get a bonus coupon. They're going to email you a redemption code. And then in August, that's when you can redeem those codes. So starting August 1st through August 31st, you can redeem those codes on any order that you place with Stampin' Up. So it's a great time to earn some extra money now so that you can save a little bit on your next order next month. So, so that's going on. Of course, we're going to have a live class kit available with my inked and tiled bundle class today. That's going to be a 5-card kit, just like I normally do. You can earn a free class kit when you place a $40 order. You're going to want to bump that to $50, at least in July, to get that bonus coupon. But you need a minimum $40 order, and you'll also need to use that host code that I provide. When I flip the camera around, I'm going to show you that host code, and you'll need to put that on the checkout page before you submit your order, and that way you will earn that free class kit. I give you all the supplies that you need to create the cards that I'm going to show tonight, and you'll just need to add the stamp set, the inks, and the adhesives. And you don't even need the punches for this. I know some people are like, I don't know about those punches, may not know how to use them. I am going to show you some clever little tricks for using those today, but you don't need the punches for this class kit. So if you're not a fan of the punches, then you can just order that stamp set to complete the class cards tonight. I will have this kit available through I think it was August 8th, and then August 11th I think is when I had planned on mailing those out. So you can plan on that. And then one final thing, I wanted to give you a heads up, because we just got word today that there is going to be a promotion starting in August for the Kits Collection kits. So these are kits that you can purchase. They're online exclusives. You won't find them in any catalog, but there's, I don't know, around 25 different kinds of kits that you can purchase. They are all inclusive, so everything that you need to create the projects in the kit, everything, all the supplies, all the stamps, all the ink, everything is in there for you. And those will be going on sale starting August 1st through August 31st, either at a 10, 20, or up to 30% discount. So check that out. Again, that's only online, and that starts on August 1st. The cool part is you can use those bonus coupons. So you're going to get that extra discount on the kit to start with, and then you can use your $5 bonus coupons that you have earned. If just a little tip, if you have placed an order where you've earned a bonus coupon, you'll want to make sure to check your email. That's where you're going to get the redemption code, and save that email so that you don't have to call in and get that later. You'll be able to use that when August starts for the redemption period. Okay. All right, let's get started. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what's in the suite, the Inked Botanical Suite, and then we'll get started with our cards today. So hold on for 1 second. All right. Let's get everything moved here just a tiny bit. So you'll notice I have a host code right there at the top, and that is 27NBA6UQ. You'll need to have that on the checkout page as you are getting ready to complete your order. That will allow you to earn that Inked Botanicals class kit. Okay, let's show you what is in the suite. It's going to start out with the inked and tiled stamp set. These are such pretty floral and leaves, like they're pressed flowers. I just really love them. Some really nice, versatile sentiments. Thank you, congratulations, just a note, lots of love, hello friend, and happy birthday. Covers the whole array of occasions, so I love that. And then if you purchase the bundle, you'll get a punch pack, and you'll get these two shapes. So you'll have kind of a cross shape and a little star, 6-point, that's not true, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 8-point star shape. And you can combine these shapes, kind of like a quilted pattern. We're going to do a card that kind of has that background. As I mentioned before, you don't need to purchase these this punch pack as part of the bundle in order to complete my card class, although I am going to show you a few fun little clever ways to use these pieces, so you might still want to do the bundle. Okay, so that is our bundle, and then we have the beautiful Inked Botanicals paper, and I'm going to show you, I don't have full pieces of all of the sheets because I've been using it like crazy, but it's a 6x6 bundle. You're going to get 12 double-sided patterns. So as you can see, they're in some really pretty summery types of patterns. You'll have your Calypso Coral, your Pool Party, Crushed Curry, Coastal Cabana, actually it's Lost Lagoon, and some Petal Pink in there. Really pretty color combinations. So you can see all the different coordinating pieces here. Some nice florals and some nice, just more plain, subtle backgrounds. And let me show you the last two pieces. I don't have full pieces, but here are the, here's one that's split up into pieces. So this is a really pretty print. And then the back is just a polka dot in Calypso Coral. And then another piece kind of has the full round flowers, and then the Crushed Curry polka dots on the back. So really pretty patterns, lots and lots of versatility. I love it when you can take a designer series paper and with a beautiful color combination, and it kind of pulls everything together. Just for a reference, if you have a catalog, you can find all of the Inked Botanicals information on page 94 and 95 in your catalog. That's where you can see the beautiful paper. Also, as part of the suite is the Lost Lagoon bordered ribbon. So we're using that on several of our cards tonight. This is beautiful ribbon. Not only do I just love the color, but it's a really, it's kind of a, I'm trying to think of it. It's like a linen-y type of, I'm not good with fabrics, but it's just really easy to tie. It's a good size. I wish they would come out with this in a lot of other colors because it's just a really nice ribbon. So that's that. And then we also, on all of the cards, I'm going to be using these iridescent pastel gems. We used them a few classes back, but all of the colors in here match perfectly. So this is a great one to go along with your bundle. If you get all the parts of the suite, that's a good one to get. It'll go with all of your different cards and projects that you make. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to show you 5 different cards, as well as their 2 cool versions. You know how I like to have another version. So I'm going to start today with Pool Party, and this is just a traditional 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at the 4 1/4 mark. Fold that in half and crease it nicely with the bone folder. And then I'm going to start some stamping with a little piece here. This is Crushed Curry, and it's 4 1/4 by 1 1/2. And I'm just going to stamp with some Crushed Curry and have a little, I love this little line back, or it's kind of just a distressed type of a almost a wood grain look. And I'm just going to add that over my piece here for a little background element. Crushed curry on crushed curry. And we'll add that to our background with some seal. Okay, I just have to tell you what just happened because it was funny. I somehow got a dimensional on the back of this and the backing came off. And so when I went to pick this up off of the table, it was like stuck. Anyway, that's pretty funny. All right, so we'll use the seal to add this to the background. And we'll just put it maybe about a half of an inch from the bottom, like so. I'm gonna have to cut that off because I can't stand it. I like things to be nice and flush. Pardon my OCD about that. And then we're just gonna showcase some of that beautiful paper. I'm gonna start with vanilla. So vanilla, you can, some of these papers have a little bit of white in them, but most of them have vanilla. So it's a little different than a lot of the papers because we don't have a lot of designer series papers that have the very vanilla in it. So this is 3.5 by 4.25. That's going to kind of be a background layer. And then I have 3 pieces of the designer series paper, the inked Botanicals. These are 1 by 4 inch pieces. Let me verify that. Yes, 4. And we're going to just put a trio of designer series paper across this layer. I love this as a layout because a lot of times you just have lots of little pieces that you don't really know what to do with, and it's fun just to create a background that showcases. I'm gonna wait and do this in the middle. I like to do my 2 ends first so that I can space everything evenly. But it's a great way to use up those scraps and create a nice background element with a lot of different colors that kind of all just pull the whole card together. So if you do the 2 ends or 2 sides first, and then you can equally space your middle piece much better. All right, before we put that down, don't forget, we're going to put some ribbon around it. So we'll just tie that around. This is the Lost Lagoon bordered ribbon. Again, beautiful, easy to tie. I love it, love it, love it. And I'm just going to tie it in a double knot like I usually do. I'm not a bow person. I just like a little faux bow. I feel like they lay a little bit flatter on the card when you're trying to mail it anyway. So that's what I like. And I'll just kind of scooch that over into the coral section there. And we're going to use some seal to just adhere this whole layer to the background. Like so. All right, next we'll do a little focal point, really simple. I have a piece of the Very Vanilla again. It's die cut already with a Stylish Shapes circle, kind of a medium size there. We're gonna ink with crushed curry, and we're gonna use the pretty leaves. And I want it to be kind of a light background look, so I think I'm going to stamp off once. So just stamp off, and then put a little bit of color on there. And then we'll add a sentiment. We'll use Lost Lagoon and the Hello Friend sentiment. I'm going to layer that onto another die cut. This one is in Calypso Coral, and it's from the All That Dies. I don't know if you remember that class. It was a kind of a masculine stamp set, and the dies that went with it were just great because they had all kinds of little label shapes, and this one fits beautifully, layers beautifully with that Stylish Shapes. Let me move my, see if that helps a little bit. All right, we're going to pop that up over our ribbon, And so I'm going to put some dimensionals on the top and bottom there so I don't have any right over where the ribbon is. All right, we'll add that. Beautiful. And then let's add some of those iridescent pastel gems. Let's do some of the, really this is soft succulent because it's from the old catalog, but it matches the Lost Lagoon and other colors, Pool Party, beautifully. All right, so there is our first card. Pretty simple. I love how it brings all those colors together. Let me show you my Too Cool version. So this one, very similar, just changed out the colors on this one. So we have Calypso Coral, we have Pool Party stamped on Pool Party, some different patterns of the inked Botanicals paper. I used crushed curry for all that circle, and then I stamped in Pool Party, stamped off once, and Calypso Coral for the happy birthday sentiment. I had put my little jewels on a little bit differently as well. All right, so you're going to get all the card supplies for this one in your kit. All right, next up, I have Calypso Coral. This again is another traditional card size, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This time I've already texture embossed my Very Vanilla. This is 5 1/4 by 4. And I used the online exclusives 3D Basics, I think. Basics embossing pack. There's 3 different folders. I love this one. It's kind of like a diagonal cross hatch. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see it very well on my video, but hopefully you can see that from your end, but it's really, really pretty. There's a beautiful embossed side, and I actually love the debossed side. So that's the one I'm going to use. I'm going to dress it up a little bit with a piece of the Botanicals, Ink Botanicals paper. This is 2 by 4, and we'll add that onto this piece before we add it to our card base. Like so. Add this one to our card base. This one's going to be a horizontal card. All right, next I have already die cut a shape. This is Very Vanilla again, and it's from the Countryside Corners, I believe is the name of the dies. I love that set. Even if you don't get the stamp set, you'll want to get the dies because these are just beautiful layered shapes, and there's a bunch of different sizes that nest together so beautifully. So I love that you can get lots of different sizes of just a really basic shape. So we're going to decorate this one up a little bit with also the leaf like we just used, and we're going to stamp off a little bit too. So before we do that though, let's put our sentiment on so we have good positioning. So I'm going to start with thank you up in the corner, and then we'll add, since I already had crushed curry happening, we'll get crushed curry on our leaves, stamp off once, and then just do a little stamp there. We're going to need to, I'm going to stamp the leaves 3 times, so I'm going to need to clean in between each one. So I have my Simply Chamois handy. I love this. Just wet it, and it really does a great job of getting off all of the ink so that you're ready to go for the next color. So the next color, let's do Calypso Coral. And again, I'm going to stamp off just for a little bit lighter shade. I love that look. Again, we're going to clean it, squish, squish, squish. Make sure that it doesn't have any more ink on there, and then we'll do the Lost Lagoon. You could do Pool Party and probably just a full strength pool party, but I'm going to do Lost Lagoon stamped off, and then one more in the middle. And then I'm going to layer that on a piece of Calypso coral. So this measures 4 1/4 by 2 5/8. So we're gonna, oh, before I do that, let me put a little piece of ribbon. I just want to have a little hint of texture on this, this piece. So I'm gonna add a little bit of adhesive on both sides, right in the middle. And then I'll wrap this around just right in the center, just so that I have a little hint of the Lost Lagoon texture and color. And then let's go ahead and pop this up on top with some dimensionals. So again, we're going to try to avoid the ribbon and put our dimensionals all along the edges. And, oh, I already figured out that I screwed something up. So hold on a second. Back it on up. One of the things I wanted to share on this card was I already did some punching with the star punch. And these are 2 crushed curry stars. And I'm going to peel these. If you peel these dimensionals off right away, they're pretty good at coming up. So before I stick those on there, I actually want to add the stars. So here's a different way that you can use those stars. And that is to kind of create a faux photo corner. Just a little hint of color there on the edge. Like so. A little bit different, right? And then you can add your dimensionals back. And did I take them all off? Yes, I did. Whoops. Now we're going to center that on our Calypso coral. And then I kind of wanted a tag look, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off on each corner. You can keep those corners on there if you want, but I was looking for like kind of a little tag, so it's a little bit weighted on this side with those 2 punches, and then you have that nice little tag shape. If you wanted to do it at an angle, you could. I'm not big on angles, so I'm just going to mount mine just straight. But if you feel so inclined, you could do a little bit of angle, diagonal tag on this one. And then I'm just going to finish up with a few of our dimensionals. Or not dimensionals, our iridescent pastels, pastel gems. So I'm going to do some of the yellow ones. And it's funny because the yellow ones almost look like the Lost Lagoon. So there you go. Just adds a little touch of shimmer, a little touch of sparkle. Really cute. Okay, I have a Too Cool version. This one I tried something a little different with the punches. So I have my Lost Lagoon. I have the textured background is the same. This time I put my 2 by 4 inch piece of Calypso Coral Designer Series paper on first. Then I added a strip of the crushed curry pattern from the paper. It's a 5 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch strip right down the center. And then I flanked both sides here with the X punch with another one of the patterns, just to pull in. This is kind of a pool party pattern, just to pull in another bit of color. This time I didn't put the star underneath it to make like the tag shape, but you can see that I did trim all of the corners. So I'm not giving you 2 different die cuts with this one. That's just something you're going to trim on your own if you want to. I used the Happy Birthday Sentiment in Calypso Coral. And then I think I did Full Strength Crushed Curry, Full Strength Pool Party, and stamped off Calypso Coral. So that's, and some gems over here and up at the top. So that is my Too Cool version. And you'll get all of the supplies to make this first card. All right. The next card, this one's one of my favorites. And this one starts with Crushed Curry, 7.5 by 5.5, and you're going to score at 4.25. But the short side, of course, is going to be your front. We're going to start by adding a piece of Designer Series paper, the inked Botanicals, and that's going to be 3 by 5.25. And then you can also add a little strip of a 1-inch strip of the Designer Series paper, coordinating. If you want to use the Crushed Curry side, that's going to look beautiful. I'm going to use this plaid side because I just love that look. So there is our kind of our front of our card. We're going to add a strip across here. This is a 4 by 3/4 inch strip. And since it has this short opening here, we only want to adhere it from here to here, obviously, because otherwise we would adhere it closed. So be careful about that. So I'll put on some seal here and make sure I don't go too far. And then we'll just add this down here. Just a little element, kind of fun and different that it sticks out like that. And then we have, this is a very vanilla die cut. It's from the Nested Essentials dies. If you don't have the Nested Essentials, well, then you need to get it because they're essential. They're definitely one of those instant classics, lots of fun shapes, and they're nested together into different sizes so that you can do a lot of fun layering. So this is kind of a fun shape. We're going to do some stamping on that, and we're going to use the great big floral stamp from the inked and tiled stamp set. We're going to use a fun technique that I haven't used for a while, and that is using our Stampin' Right markers to color directly onto the stamp, and that gives you a multicolor image. So before I get to that, I wanted to share with you, once again, if you hadn't noticed in the catalog, that we have brand new Stampin' Right markers. So this is the old version. The cap is a little bit longer. That's no big deal, but you'll notice that you have, this is the old one. It has a nice brush tip end. And then the new one, whoops, hold on, wrong side. The new one has a brush tip end. Let's put them together so you can see the difference. So they're pretty much the same, right? Just kind of a different length of a cap. You'll know that that's the brush tip end because it has a wide ring around the barrel. That's how you can tell which end you're looking at. Then on the other side, the old version had a really, really tiny, fine tip that dried up really easily. They really were having quality issues with it. I don't know if mine just barely works. See, it's really, really dry. So this is the old version. But now with the new version, this tip is improved. It's a different style of tip. It's more of a fine bullet tip. So you can see it's a little bit larger, but it's going to allow you to write really nicely. So if you want to write on the inside of your card, it's not too big that you can't do nice writing with it, but you can also color small spaces with that as well. So I love these new Stampin' Right markers. Definitely worth. If you do a lot of writing, you want coordinated color ink. If you do a lot of marker techniques, it's definitely worth changing out into the new style of pens. Okay, so with that said, we're going to do some coloring directly onto our stamp here. And let me bring it up closer so you can see what I'm doing. I'm using the brush tip end, and I'm using it. I'm not going to go down like this because I'm trying to keep that nib nice and pointy. So I'm using it more like a paintbrush, and I'm just painting that color all over one of the flowers. Next, I'm going to use Calypso Coral. So the large flower is going to be colored in Calypso Coral. And then the stems and leaves will be colored in Lost Lagoon. Now, if you have a great big stamp, this one's pretty big, but if you have a lot of different coloring, as you color, your ink might dry just a little bit. That's okay. As soon as you're done coloring all of the parts that you need, you're going to just huff, add some moisture from your breath onto the stamp, and that way it'll kind of rejuvenate that ink, and you can stamp it down onto your piece. So there, I love this technique. It's so pretty because it gives you that beautiful multicolored look. Now we're going to add this directly onto our card with some dimensionals. Again, we have it hanging over just a little bit, so I don't want to get that, I don't want that part to have dimensional. So I'm going to do a 180 flip and kind of set it in the position that I want, so I know that I'm not going to put my dimensionals too far over. I got some dogs barking upstairs. Sorry about that. All right. So I put a lot of dimensionals on there so it doesn't kind of, warp in the middle, bow in the middle. And then we'll add that like so. And then we're going to add a little sentiment. So I have another star punch, again with the crushed curry. And this time I have Very Vanilla. I'm using the Stylish Shapes dies again, this very smallest little square die. And I'm going to stamp my Hello Friend. What did I do with it? Here it is. And we'll do that in the Lost Lagoon ink. Hello Friend fits perfectly in this little tiny square. I think it's the only sentiment that does. So, oh, got that one a little bit crooked. That's okay. That's how you know it's handmade, right? So we'll add a little seal to that. And I love that this little tiny square die fits perfectly in that star shaped. So we'll add that right here. So I'll put one little dimensional on this side, and then a little bit of seal on this side since it's overlapping. And then we just need to add some of our gems again. Let me just show you. Here's my finished card. And I have some of the yellow gems. And then on the inside, I'll give you a piece of vanilla that you can just add, but you want to make sure that you stamp something. This one just has one of the other little flowers that I, again, inked up with the markers right on the stamp with crushed curry, Calypso Coral, and a little bit of the Lost Lagoon. So super cute, fun to do. And then I'll show you my Too Cool version, just a little bit different. The background is Lost Lagoon. I used a different pattern paper for both the front and the little side strip there. So I used the multicolor piece over here. And then I wanted that front piece to really kind of be framed around the image, the focal point. As you can see, this is a larger one of the dies from the Nested Essentials. So I made that one just a tiny bit bigger so I could share the whole flower, have a little more room to spend on there. And then I put the same yellow iridescent pastel gems, and then I just colored the flower a little bit differently. I thought that was fun too, just a little bit different. Okay, for the fourth card, This one kind of has a fun quilt looking background. Now I'm not a quilter, so I don't know anything about quilting, but I thought it'd be fun to use the 2 punches to create kind of a quilted look. The paper kind of lends itself to quilting patterns. I just think it's nice and small patterns, friendly, and definitely color coordinated, obviously. So I'm starting with Lost Lagoon, just a traditional card base. We're going to stamp the background a little bit with the large floral that we just used. So let me clean that up. I'm going to stamp that in Lost Lagoon. And I'm just going to kind of come in from every angle, all the way around the outside edge, all around the border. Next, I have a piece here. Let me measure it. This is very vanilla. It is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And we're going to lay out some different punches. So I've already punched out a lot of the different designer series papers, and so I punched out stars in the ones that had multicolored patterns, and then X's in the ones that were a little more of the same color. And then I'm going to just kind of lay this out a little bit. So the X is here, and then we'll put the stars in here. So it's kind of creating a little bit of a quilted look, the way all the pieces kind of fit together. There we go. So that's how I'm going to paste everything down. So bear with me while I go ahead and do that. I'm going to start with the X's again. And you might want to use, if you use multi-purpose glue, it might work a little bit better. The seal is a little bit difficult sometimes to lay down on this, a small piece like this. So the liquid glue might be a better option. So I've placed it so that they're very close together. I'm pretty much just using the seal because it's quicker. But the glue would work much better, I'm sure. So you're going to have a couple of the points of the stars are going to be over, kind of extending over the edge. And then we're going to add that to a layer that's Calypso Coral. Let me give you the measurement for that layer. That is a 4 by 3 inch layer. Before we put it on our card, I have some very vanilla baker's twine. This is from the Basics twine kit. And I think I gave you enough here that if you want to do a bow, you can. I'm just gonna, just to be quick, I'm gonna do just a little knot. Let me try again. I don't like tying bows, and I especially don't like tying bows on the spot on a video, so we're just gonna go with a knot. But if you want to do that bow, I'm just gonna clip mine off. If you want, you can kind of untwist the ends a little bit and make them frayed. I like that look. And I'm just going to move this over to the edge a little bit, like so. All right, now we can put it on that card. And let me see, yes, I did pop that up a little bit. So let's add a bunch of dimensionals. I generally would add more than that because I'm dimensional crazy. but just for time's sake. So we'll put that right in the center of the card. And then let's do a little focal point. This is a very vanilla die cut from the All That Dies. Just a little tiny oval there, like a little cameo. And we're going to use the tiny little flower, and we're going to use that same technique where we add some color with the markers again. So I'm going to start with the lightest color, the crushed curry, right on the tips of the flowers. The base of the flowers, I'm going to make Calypso Coral. And then the stems, Lost Lagoon. So pretty much the same color combination as before. A little huff on it, stamp on your oval, and we'll pop that up over the ribbon as well. And I'm going to finish up with a little sentiment. I've already pre-punched a crushed curry little cross or an X, and I'm going to stamp on that little piece with just a note in Lost Lagoon ink. So I probably won't be able to get this straight because I can't see. Oh, not too bad. And then we're just going to make this a banner shape by trimming off the sides. So it just makes a really easy, quick banner that fits. Whoops, I just see I have a little tiny bit there hanging out. There we go. So it makes a perfect little banner there. We're going to put that at the bottom of our oval here. And you might even want to use mini dimensionals now that I think about it. I think that might work a little bit better, but you're going to put that right at the bottom. And then finish up with one little sparkly gem from the pastel, iridescent pastel gems, and that finishes that card. So, so cute. Let me show you my other version, my Too Cool version. This time I did it in Petal Pink, and I did that same crosshatch basics texture for the background. Instead of stamping, I just thought it would look nice with the texture. And this time I chose patterns that were more subtle. So I still have the same multicolor patterns, or similar ones, but then I chose a lighter of the yellow, a Petal Pink pattern over here, and a Pool Party pattern there. I used some of the Zany Zoo dual ribbon pack. There's some Petal Pink stripe ribbon in that, so I loved that look with that. And then I used a larger label from that same All That Dies. This time, when I colored the entire flower with Petal Pink, and then just added a little bit of Calypso Coral on the tips and a couple little dots in the middle, just so it kind of has a multi-colored look. I used Petal Pink again for my cross that I punched out and added a different sentiment, lots of love, and cut off the edges again to make that banner, and then added a couple of jewels. So that's really cute, a little bit different than the first one. You're going to get all the supplies, including all the pre-punched designer series paper to make this card. Okay, one more card. And this is another kind of a fun fold, a little bit different. So this is Petal Pink, and this one measures 4 1/4 by 11. We've scored it at 5 1/2, and then also at, let's make sure I give you the right one, because I think it's 9 3/4. So this is going to be a pocket card. It's going to fold up, and then it's going to fold back down, like so. We're going to add some designer series paper, so a little strip of 1x4 that goes on the flap. I just love this ink Botanicals. All right, and then this Inked Botanicals piece is a 4x3. So we'll add that to the bottom. And then you can just leave this without adhering it, but I always like just, it seems like it's a little bit neater, a little more professional if you just fold that down and adhere that. So now we're gonna put these two pieces together to make a little pocket. And that is with, let's see, did I, okay, that's with this Petal Pink from the Ribbon Duo pack. I love this ribbon. The Lost Lagoon ribbon would also be great for this. So you don't need any adhesive to hold the pocket together, just a piece of ribbon to put the two pieces together. All right, we'll move that over to the side. And then we're going to decorate. So again, I have some layers here, the All That dies with Very Vanilla, and then a larger piece of the Calypso Coral with the Stylish Shapes dies. So we'll do some layering kind of backwards from what we did before. Before we had the All That dies and then the Stylish Shapes on the inside. So you can see how well those two circle elements like to layer together. All right, this time we're going to use this flower die, or this flower stamp, and we're going to stamp it in Petal Pink, and then also Calypso Coral. So we'll need to clean it up on the Simply Chamois, make sure we have the ink off of it. And then I want this stamped off as well, so I have kind of a lighter look again. This time we will do the Happy Birthday, and again in Lost Lagoon. And we'll add this to our circle shape, and then we'll pop this up on our pocket. I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I've already done. So this is the finished card. I've already popped that up onto the pocket. Then I took a large die cut from the Countryside Corners dies, and I stamped some of the same colors, the Petal Pink, the stamped off Crushed Curry, and then either Pool Party or stamped off Lost Lagoon. And then for this piece here, it's actually the cross piece, the X piece, and I just folded that in half and adhered that on the top of my piece. So I didn't put it flush all the way down. I just have it sticking up just a little bit, but this becomes the little tab that you can put in your pocket. Whoops. So that fits in there perfectly and makes a nice little pocket card. I added some of the Calypso Coral gems on that one as well. Beautiful. Okay, let's look at my Too Cool version. So this one I wanted something a little monochromatic with just a little pop of color. So I chose some Pool Party patterns from the Inked Botanicals, used my Pool Party for the card base pocket, and then did some coloring again on the stamps with Calypso Coral and Lost Lagoon. You can see this one I did in white. Most of the other ones I've done in Very Vanilla, but these two patterns kind of lent themselves to the white. The Lost Lagoon ribbon, like I said, works really well here. The Calypso Coral gems are a nice fun pop of color along with that flower. And then here's my fun pull-out piece for that pocket. So I really like how that one turned out as well. Okay, let me show you again all the different cards that you will be getting in your card kit. Again, the card kit is available to earn until the 8th of August. And then it will mail out on August 11th. You'll get all the parts and pieces that you see here for the card you see here. You'll just need to add the stamps, the inks, and the adhesives. You'll get all of the pre-die cut pieces. You'll get all of the pre-punched pieces, including anything like this where you would be stamping on it with a sentiment. All that will be included, the embellishments and the ribbons, all included. Again, to earn that class kit, you'll just need a minimum $40 order. At my website, you can go to toocoolstamping.com, click on the Shop Now link. Make sure you use that host code 27NBA6UQ. That's what lets me know that you would like to have the free class kit. And I hope you have fun putting it together. I really had a lot of fun creating it. And I thank you so much again for joining me. Don't forget about those bonus coupons. If you place your order before the end of the month, for every $50, you get a $5 bonus coupon that you can redeem then again in August. So that's a great, great deal. Don't miss out on that. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. I'd also just like to know what you think of the cards, so put that in the comments too. And over the course of the next week or so, I will be putting more details about both of my Too Cool versions of each of these cards on my website, toocoolstamping.com. So check out that for more details. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I really had fun showing this to you. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you soon. Until then, this is Angie with Too Cool Stamping. Thanks. Bye-bye.